Guys, Eric here, Mr. Fired Up Wealth. This video here is just a quick snippet from a daily live stream we do every single morning on Discord. You can join these if you'd like through Patreon. Join the Elite Plus tier. Enjoy. Did you guys hear about this? Did you guys hear about Tesla? It bought $1.5 billion in Bitcoin, according to an SEC filing. Tesla announced Monday it has bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin in a filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. The company said it bought the Bitcoin for more flexibility to further diversify and maximize returns on their cash. Tesla also said it would be accepting payments in Bitcoin in exchange for its products. That's pretty groundbreaking news there. That would make Tesla the first major automaker to do so. It's probably not surprising, I guess, to most. Tesla's move into Bitcoin represents an investment of a significant percentage of its cash in the investment. The company had more than $19 billion in cash and equivalents on hand at the end of 2020, according to its most recent filing. So this move, if you've been following Tesla and Elon for a while, you'll understand why this raises some concerns. If you're new to investing, if you bought Tesla in 2019, 2020, you might not even have the full picture. I'll try to paint that picture a little bit here today. Moves raised immediate questions around CEO Elon Musk's behavior on Twitter recent weeks. Of course, you've probably been following where he's been credited for increasing the price of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and the Dogecoin by posting positive messages that have encouraged more people to buy the digital currencies. He even had it on his Twitter. He actually had it in his bio, BTC Bitcoin with the little Bitcoin logo for a little while, and he took it down. 2 weeks ago, the billionaire Tesla added the hashtag, as it is said, to Bitcoin. So he did hashtag Bitcoin to his Twitter bio, and a move that helped to briefly push up the price of the cryptocurrency by as much as 20%. 2 days later, he said on the social media chat site Clubhouse. Clubhouse is pretty cool if you haven't heard of Clubhouse. It's kind of in beta right now. They intend to make it public to everybody. But anyway, I do at this point think Bitcoin is a good thing, and I'm a supporter of Bitcoin, he said in Clubhouse. Bitcoin prices surged to new highs on Monday following Tesla's announcement, reaching a price of at least $44,200. Tesla shares were up more than 2.5% this morning in pre-market trading. Today is Monday, February 8th, 2021. Tesla warned investors of the volatility of Bitcoin's price in the SEC filing. It's interesting stuff. I'm checking really quick on my Discord. This is a live stream, and you can join these live streams by joining Patreon and checking out Discord. I typically don't record these. This one today, I'm actually recording. And if you're watching this is something that we do every single morning, 30 minutes before market open. We also do it Friday afternoons for happy hour at closing bell. If you're interested in joining these daily live streams, please sign up for Patreon. Let's see here. We're talking about, let's go to Elite Streams here. I can't keep up with the tech advances. Okay, so would it be better if the Chiefs won? Talking about the market. Good question. Ridiculous. Elon supports Bitcoin while claiming he wants to help the environment with Tesla and Solar City. That's a comment. I won't say the person's name, but it's a comment here in my chat room. So interesting. Obviously, it's going to be controversial. There's going to be people that really like the move. There's going to be people that don't like the move. It's kind of why I wanted to cover it, to kind of just provide facts. I'm kind of neutral on it. I'm not really surprised either way. Let's look at maybe some history of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and Elon Musk in the past. So if you haven't been investing for a long time, you might not have a lot of insight into some of this history. It's part of the reason that the stock probably didn't do as well maybe sooner was there was a lot of volatility around it. They didn't really have any cash. There was, most of the big institutional investors would say they're going bankrupt and all this kind of stuff. And of course, in my opinion, the retail investor helped make Tesla kind of get over that hump, and it really expedited their ability to join the S&P 500. So Elon Musk settles SEC fraud charges. Now, this is back from September 29th of 2018. So we're going back a little bit here. This is on the Securities and Exchange Commission website, so it's legit. Elon Musk settles SEC fraud charges, Tesla charge with, and resolves securities law charge. Settlement requires Musk to step down as Tesla's chairman, Tesla to appoint additional independent directors. Tesla and Musk agree to pay $40 million in penalties. So this is from Washington, D.C., September 29, 2018. The SEC announced today that Elon Musk, CEO and chairman of Silicon Valley-based Tesla, Inc., has agreed to settle the securities fraud charge brought by the SEC last week. The SEC also charged Tesla with failing to have required disclosure controls and procedures relating to Musk's tweets, a charge that Tesla has agreed to settle. The settlements, which are subject to court approval, will result in comprehensive corporate governance and other reforms at Tesla, including Musk's removal as chairman of the Tesla board and the payment by Musk and Tesla of financial penalties. So this might be news to you. You know, maybe you've been following this story. It's kind of been an ongoing story. Maybe you know about it, maybe you don't, but I think it's good information to revisit because, you know, there's certainly some scrutiny right now of, you know, hey, you're basically saying that you bought Bitcoin, and after Tesla bought Bitcoin, you've got the CEO on Twitter saying, basically pumping Bitcoin essentially by, you know, making some comments about Bitcoin, adding the hashtag on there. So, you know, it's a little bit of gray area there. What's considered legit, what's considered legal, what's not considered legal, what's pumping, what's not. There's a lot of fine lines. And later in this video here, I'll talk about some of the rules. You know, some of these rules are very old, and I'll tell you more about what that looks like. But, you know, this is going back. This is before the split. So you have to keep that in mind when you're seeing these share price numbers. According to the SEC's complaint against him, Musk tweeted on August 7th, 2018, that he could take Tesla private at $420 per share. Wow, $420. Who would have guessed? A substantial premium to its trading price at the time. That funding for the transaction was secured, and only remaining uncertainty was the shareholder vote. The SEC complaint alleged that in truth, Musk knew that the potential transaction was uncertain and subject to numerous contingencies. Musk had not discussed specific deal terms, including price, et cetera, et cetera. So here are some bullet points here. It says Musk and Tesla have agreed to settle the charges against them without admitting or denying SEC allegations. So they don't have to admit or deny, but they're going to pay this money anyway. So it's always funny when you don't have to admit it, but you're going to pay $40 million. It's kind of funny. Musk will step down as Tesla's chairman and be replaced by independent chairman. Musk will be ineligible to be reelected as chairman for 3 full years. Tesla will appoint a total of 2 independent directors to its board. Tesla will establish a new committee of independent directors and put in place additional controls and procedures to oversee Musk communications. What happened with that? Musk and Tesla will each pay a separate $20 million penalty. The $40 million in penalties will be distributed to harmed investors under court approval process. The total package of remedies and relief announced today are specifically designed to address the misconduct at issue by strengthening Tesla's corporate governance and oversight in order to protect investors. That's a quote from the co-director of the SEC Enforcement Division. As a result of the settlement, Elon Musk will no longer be chairman of Tesla. Tesla's board will adopt important reforms, including the obligation to oversee Musk communications with investors. But, nothing really has changed all that much. I guess it got quiet for a little while and we're kind of back at it. And I think it's great. Like, I like Elon Musk a lot. I think this is good information to share in case you weren't aware. The SEC's investigation was conducted by Walker Newell, Brent Smith, and Barrett Atwood, and supervised by Stephen Buchholz. So anyway, you probably don't care about that so much. So what else? I got a couple other articles. Let me just check again on the Elite Stream chat. Nothing there right now. What does it say? Some background. Bitcoin consumes as much energy as Uruguay. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's definitely a debate. So I'm not here to pick a side. I just want to share the information. So this is from Mashable. Elon Musk tells the SEC, well, you can work it out. Now, this is back July 3rd of 2020. And Elon Musk was tweeting again. It started to get, he kind of got back into the saddle aggressively around last summer, 2020. And I think people were very distracted from the pandemic and things like that. So He tweeted here on July 2nd, 2020, SEC three-letter acronym, middle word is Elon's. And then he's got some other ones in here. We'll send some to the Short Seller Enrichment Commission to comfort them through difficult times. I don't know if you remember these shorts. So Musk and Tesla would make fabulous shorts in radiant red satin with gold trim and send some to these guys, the Short Seller Enrichment Commission, to comfort them through these difficult times. Basically kind of trolling, the shorts, right? Musk is clearly taunting the SEC and Tesla shorters after Tesla stock hit an all-time high of $1,221.48. Of course, it's pretty funny. Obviously there's been a split since then. It was a 5-to-1 split, making Tesla the most valuable car maker globally, and it's gotten more expensive since then. Or perhaps the joke materialized in Musk's mind and just had to share. Kind of a side note, I'm digressing here a little bit, but I did notice too, this morning I was watching CNBC when I was working out, and they had a headline about China. I guess investigator talked to Tesla in China about quality issues. I thought that was interesting. So back to this. Thanks, Tesla owners and investors. Love you. We will work super hard to earn your trust and support, he tweeted. In regards to Tesla's tweet, Tesla Q2 2020 vehicle production and deliveries, and basically started to really ramp up and be profitable there. So, it's really interesting to see some of these tweets and some of the drama around it. So why does it really matter? Just real quick here, why Elon Musk tweets matter to the SEC. This is from PBS. And what are the stakes when a CEO talks business on social media? I mean, this is a big deal. And with recent events with Wall Street Bets and with GameStop, you even had like Chamath involved. There were, other celebrities that were involved. I noticed that even like Dogecoin had Snoop Dogg posting to Elon, and it's all fun and games and everything like that. But I do look at it and say, what's going to happen? Maybe nothing should happen, but in reality, the SEC is probably looking at some of this stuff and probably doesn't like it. And it's really interesting because these laws are really old, so it's hard to enforce a lot of this stuff. And hopefully there isn't. I mean, with Reddit, it comes to free speech, and it's not a paid service, so it's really hard for them to enforce it. The SEC, they don't really have a whole lot of jurisdiction, to be quite honest with you. I mean, the only way they could is if they can prove manipulation, and I think it's really hard to do, especially when most of the people really on Wall Street Bets are anonymous, right? So it's a weird thing altogether, and I think it's important maybe just to have a better understanding about it. So what are the stakes when a CEO talks business on social media? When President Trump had his Twitter account, it was really controversial as well, especially at the end. He basically got kicked off social media. Social media can be very powerful for just everyday people like me to have a voice to the world. But also, if you're a celebrity, you have a lot of power with what you say, and I think you have some responsibility with that too. A tweet by Tesla chief Elon Musk last year prompted the SEC Commission to file against the tech mogul, first violating SEC rules, then violating a settlement agreement. The SEC said the tweet caused harm to investors, in quotes, but Musk claims something is broken with SEC oversight. So it's kind of like, the good guy versus bad guy, kind of like what we saw with David and Goliath with Wall Street Bets. And there's a lot of story behind that about, there was institutional investors that were riding coattails on that too. And there's just a lot of drama and soap opera behind that whole thing. Who is right is a matter for the courts to decide, but the dispute highlights the importance of SEC rules for average investors and the stumbling blocks the rules can pose in seemingly less restrained social media area. How we got here: the SEC first filed charges against Musk in September for distributing misleading information. Musk had tweeted in August that that he secured funding to take Tesla private at $420 a share. Funding had not been secured, although Musk later said he was talking to Saudi's sovereign wealth fund and thought the fund would come through. So he thought it would come through. He was saying, and they're saying, hey, you were a little bit premature. But he actually tweeted, I'm considering taking Tesla private at $420, funding secured, but it wasn't actually secured it's a little bit of a dangerous area there and a slippery slope. Musk and the SEC agreed to a settlement. We talked about this, right? Musk would pay a $20 million fine and step down as chairman. Then last month, Musk tweeted, Tesla made 0 cars in 2011, but will make around 500K in 2019. The problem with this tweet, Tesla is not expected to make 500,000 cars this year. Hours later, Musk clarified the tweet, saying by the end of 2019, Tesla would be making cars quickly enough that the company could make 500K cars per year if it retained the rate of production. So it's kind of like, well, it's more of an opinion he's saying, and other people are taking it as fact, right? So again, it's kind of that gray area, what's right and wrong. But it was too late. The SEC filed a motion saying Musk violated the terms of their agreement and asked a judge to hold him in contempt of court. That's a big deal. Musk has until today and talks about, so who is protected by SEC rules? This is really what I wanted to get to kind of finalize this and add some clarity of how the SEC works and what their jurisdiction is. Because I think there's a lot of confusion about what they can and can't do. And I think a lot of it's even gray area. But stock exchanges like the NASDAQ are regulated by the SEC. And companies that are publicly traded like Tesla must abide by SEC rules. Those rules are designed to protect both investors and the entire securities exchange system, forbid company leaders from making untrue or misleading statements in connection with their stock. So some of those tweets you could argue maybe were a little bit misleading, and that's not for me to decide. There's a quote down here. If investors do not believe they're getting correct information, they might lose trust in the entire system. So that's what they're trying to avoid. Whether they're doing a good job or not, or right or wrong, I'm not here to argue that. I'm just trying to provide the information. The idea is if people are buying and selling stock, you want the marketplace to be fair and for everyone to be treated equally, according to this former deputy chief of staff of the SEC. If some investors get information sooner than others, that gives them an unfair advantage. If investors get incorrect information, that can make bad investments. And if investors do not believe they're getting correct information, well, they might lose trust in the entire system. So that's what the SEC is supposed to help prevent. That could have disastrous results. About 54% of Americans are invested in the stock market, many of them through 401k or other retirement accounts. So how does social media come into play? Advertisements, newspapers, and letters are all mentioned as regulated means of communication in the original SEC rules dating back to the 1930s. Well, guess what? We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have Reddit. We didn't have Discord. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have any of this stuff in the 1930s. So these laws are really, really old. More recently, though, it does say the SEC has clarified how newer technology can be used. But in my opinion, I've read it and it's not as clear as they make it sound there. In 2013, for example, the SEC said that most social media are perfectly suitable methods for communicating with investors. Okay, but but communicating what exactly and how and what's right and wrong, where is the group too big or too small? There's not really, it's kind of the Wild West, which I think it should remain that way. I think that we should be able to have groups and talk about investments and try to share information, not to pump a stock, not to do pump and dump, but for legitimate reasons. Whatever a company says through social media must still meet the same standards. Well, I think that's obvious, right? As other communications, remarks on social media must be accurate and cannot be given to some investors before others. Well, if they're in one chat room or one media format and not the other, then I guess I don't know on that either. But SEC enforcement officials have some discretion before prosecuting a case. They are unlikely to focus on whether an inaccurate tweet moved the stock market or created an unlevel playing field. So it's kind of subjective to whatever they think, who worked on the SEC rule in 2013, on social media. So even that, social media has changed a lot since 2013, right? I think most of you would agree. When Musk inaccurately implied on Twitter that he had funding to take Tesla private, the stock shot up more than 10% from the previous day. That sent the SEC a red flag, and it filed charges against Musk the next month. When Musk tweeted again last month about Tesla's production rate, the market was already closed, and he tweeted the correction before the market reopened. So that's kind of important to note. So it could be argued that his tweet didn't harm investors. But the SEC's decision to take action anyway was not about the substance. It's about the process, according to the quote there. So what's unique about Musk's situation? Musk's defenders argue the Tesla co-founder is an unconventional visionary who should not be restrained. I think most people watching this probably agrees with that. They've also argued the SEC case could stifle innovation, basically slow down innovation by creating regulation, right? There's a quote here. If he thinks he needs an outlet, he should take up jogging. This doesn't seem to stifle the creativity of anybody else. Wow, okay. Shots fired. A law professor at Georgetown University who focuses on securities regulation enforcement disagrees. The SEC rules have nothing to do with Musk developing awesome cars, she says. If he thinks he needs an outlet, he should take to jogging. That doesn't seem to stifle the creativity of anyone else. Numerous government reports over the years indicate the SEC has been routinely understaffed and underfunded. That means it likely has to make decisions about whether to spend its resources going after smaller companies for relatively minor violations. They have to kind of choose their battles. But legal experts say Musk, who has 25 million Twitter followers, probably a lot more now, should realize he's a high-profile executive with a large sphere of influence. Whether he says is going to be picked up, or whatever he says is going to be picked up and used as some kind of guidance with regard to the company and its earnings or future activities. Thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do hit subscribe, hit the little bell to get notifications. Check out all the other platforms. I'm brand new to TikTok and Instagram. Handles are @FiredUpWealth. Also somewhat new to Twitter, @FiredUpWealth. Have a decent sized Facebook presence. There's actually a public page. There's also a private group. You can also check out Patreon. Of course, that's how you get into the Discord channel to get access to these daily live streams. We do one every single morning, 30 minutes before market open. That's at 9 a.m. Eastern. We do another one every Friday at closing bell. Those Friday ones can last sometimes 2 hours. We have special guests come on. Those are really educational. And the whole goal is not just about stocks. It's about personal finance and growing your wealth, trying to retire early and enjoy your life. So subscribe to the channel. Everything on YouTube is free, but definitely check out the other options. I appreciate your time and attention. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.